So, sharing my testimony, my parents were spies. My mom filed documents for Watergate. I'm not exactly sure, like it was directly for Nixon, but like she was involved in Watergate somehow, like for filing documents. She cooked the books for the Federal Reserve in our basement. When I was growing up, like she worked for the Federal Reserve, entering data, like doing data entry. And my dad, he was a navigator on a nuclear submarine during the Cold War, and the only place that he went to port was Vatican City. So he was somehow involved with the Vatican in the Cold War. I'm not sure what the Vatican had anything to do with the Cold War, but he was involved with the Vatican on the nuclear submarine somehow. And so my dad is not my father, is my understanding. Like they've hidden my birth certificate. My mom might not be my mom, and I'm possibly a missing person my entire life. And I was sexualized as an infant. Like, the stranger, like when you're with infant attachment at like a year old, when an infant is presented with a stranger, like their inclination is to go to their mother. My inclination was to masturbate. My mother was scary, and like my mom starved me. She starved me when she was pregnant with me. She tried to kill me by starving me, by dieting. I think she tried to kill me as an infant by starving me. When I was 14 months old, I ate like a whole sandbox full of sand because she wouldn't feed me. She was trying to kill me by not feeding me, I think. And like I said, I was sexualized as an infant. Like everybody in my family molested me. So like there was that. And then they pimped me out as a kid. Like they drugged me up. Like they drugged me up a lot, I believe, because I don't remember a lot of my childhood. And I'm very sure I was on Epstein Island because recently when I was on Facebook, I ended up in this weird group that was like a Jeffrey Epstein group. So I'm very certain I was on Epstein Island as a kid, roofied up. And there was a lot of witchcraft that was done on me. I have multiple personalities. I have dissociative identity disorder. And I have an elite edition where like I seamlessly switch identities. And recently, like my mom stole my grandmother left me an inheritance when I was 14 when my grandmother died, and my mom stole it from me. She stole my trust fund, and when I turned 18, my dad started a business. That's when my trust fund matured, I think. He started a business with other people, and they faked my death with Social Security because they like had me marry when I turned 21 and marry again when I divorced and married again when I divorced. They never wanted me to take my maiden name, and Social Security has my name as hyphenated when married to my last husband. They have me as still married. And my parents faked my death when I turned 21. And like my dad's company, they didn't know he had a daughter. People didn't know he had a daughter. He wouldn't take me to his plant. Um, and Social Security, they were given survivor benefits from Social Security. And my brother was involved in it. There was a lot of fraud. And before my parents died, they sold me off into sexual slavery to Diddy. And one of Diddy's associates approached me, and he wanted me to sell my soul. And once I understood the terms, I walked away from it. And he's been stalking me since, but Jesus plucked me out of his hand. He he put me under a psychiatric hold. He committed perjury and said that I was violent. Now, my family abandons me, and my kids did too. My daughter said, "Take me off as your emergency contact." And I was recently in the emergency room, and the woman who did the registration, she said, "So your daughter's your emergency contact?" I said, "No, she doesn't want to be." She said, "She doesn't want to know that you're in the emergency room." And I said, "Nobody does." She said, "That's sad." And I've kind of gotten over it, but my mom went to my ex-husband and turned my kids against me, had them commit perjury with CPS, saying that I abused them and didn't spend my child support correctly, and so that they would get my inheritance instead of me, so that nobody would know that my inheritance was stolen before my parents died. And my kids also sold me off into the slavery. But I forgive my family, because Jesus forgave me, and I forgive my family. I love them very much. My mom has dementia, so she doesn't know what she's doing. They commit witchcraft on me every full moon and new moon. Then they have men come to me and try to bait me into dating them so that they can turn around and put me into slavery. When I meet them, they have men come to me online. But I don't take the bait. And like I said, I forgive my kids, and I hope I'm breaking generational curses. Jesus has me breaking generational curses by walking away from these people who want me in sexual bondage, by trafficking me. That's what they want to do. They trafficked me on a OnlyFans type site, a fan view type site. And they had me doing a casting couch type thing, like a Zoom Zoom meeting humiliation ritual. It was a humiliation ritual on a Zoom meeting with a bunch of Hollywood people. I don't want to name any names, but it was very humiliating. And some federal agents gave me some mirrors. They said they were investigating me. They had cameras in them. And that's how the humiliation ritual was done. It was broadcast to the people, the Hollywood people. And I was gang stalked online, cyber stalked, and gang stalked in my community. People were saying, talking about travel ball, which meant being trafficked across the globe, being prostituted across the globe. And my community was talking about being lazy, because I was, they had me up 22 hours a day, committing sexual sin on this fan view type site. They were threatening me with electrocution and confinement if I didn't do what they said to do on this fan view type site. But Jesus saved me from that. He had me walk away. I didn't know how I would support myself, or how I would feed myself or provide for myself, but Jesus provided. He always provides. God always provides for my needs, and it might not be a lot. I might just be eating only oatmeal, but I'm getting by, I'm surviving, and, Jesus will always make a way. Jesus always makes a way. It might be the narrow path, the path is narrow and the way is hard, but, that's the way to the narrow gate.